right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our conversation today about dealing with financial hardship during COVID-19, presented by Brightside. My name is Eric, and I'm going to be helping run today's presentation. I just want to go through a few things before we get started, some basic housekeeping messages with you. First off, you will be muted for the duration of the presentation, but you can ask questions using the question/chat box, and your questions will then be visible to only the presenters. And we do have time dedicated at the end of this presentation to answer your questions, so feel free to ask whenever a question might come up. We will be asking some polling type questions throughout the presentation, so just please be ready to answer by clicking your response on the screen when it pops up. And lastly, this presentation is recorded. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So first, let me introduce you to your presenters today. Like I shared earlier, my name is Eric Thompson, and I'm the learning producer here at Brightside. I've been with the organization since January, but I have well over a decade of experience in learning and development. And a little fun fact about me, I do love cooking. I try to cook dinner every night for my family, but I'm still learning, so it's not always as successful as I'd like it to be, but I still try my best. Joining me today is your presenter, Peter Westman. Peter's a certified financial planner and one of Brightside's financial assistants. He has well over 6 years of experience in the financial industry, and a fun fact about him, he is expecting a baby soon. So congratulations, Peter. And now we're going to go ahead and shift over to Peter to share a little bit about Brightside and some valuable information on what you can do to alleviate some of the financial stress that you might be experiencing during this time. All right, Peter?
Thanks, Eric. Hey, everyone, Peter here, and thank you all for joining us today. I wanted to start off by sharing a little bit about Brightside. We are a benefit that's offered to you through your employer, and we are a financial wellness company. And what that means is that we are a resource for you when you have any questions about your money and anything related to your finances. We are also completely confidential and can help at no cost to you. Now, you're probably wondering why Brightside? Well, we have a whole team of people here that work one-on-one with you to really understand your needs and the financial goals that are important to you. And we also have unique products along with that guidance and education to help solve those needs. Now, we're going to start off by going over some of the immediate impacts of COVID-19 on your financial health. From there, we're also going to be talking about the immediate ways that you can alleviate some of that financial stress, along with what other things you can do over time to feel that financial security, along with how we can help you as well. Now, to start off, I wanted to go over some of the more common financial emergencies that can happen in one lifetime. And look, you're probably looking at this list thinking these are scary, and they are because they can derail us financially. Typically, though, these kinds of events would be uncommon in our lives. However, COVID-19 has really accelerated many of these, and there's also a host of new expenses that many of us didn't prepare for. Some examples that we've been seeing with a lot of our clients have been increased food costs, increased medical expenses, less hours or having to take time off work, and limited childcare. And we know these are common, so we're really focused on helping you get access to the resources that not only help you today, but also for the next 3 to 6 months. And you're probably wondering why 3 to 6 months. Right now, we don't really know exactly how long COVID-19 is going to impact us. And many of us are likely not thinking about what 3 months from now looks like, as it's not front of mind. We want to make sure we can help you prepare for that uncertain future. And we're going to start off by going over 4 easy steps that you can do today to start preparing, as well as what we can do for the future. Now, I wanted to share something with you that was shared with me recently. And the reason being is that we understand that the impact on your personal and financial lives is significant. You may feel lost, you may not know where to turn, you may not even know where to start. Just to let you know, we are here for you, and we want to share some actions you can take to maintain some stability during these times, but also that we can walk alongside you and do some of that legwork for you. Let's look at the first step, which is asking for help. And look, I know asking for help isn't easy. But the first thing to know right now is that several companies are offering relief in response to their current situation. This relief could be in the form of reduced costs, waived payments, deferred payments, or even a delay in cutting off services. I do want to mention one thing here, which is if you do look out for help and you're offered deferred payments, coordinate with your provider or lender so that you know with what's going on and what's going to happen at the end of the deferment period. For some companies, such as loan companies, they may be adding the payments on the end of the loan, whereas companies such as utility companies might expect everything that accrued to be paid back once everything settles down. So it's best to know what that looks like so you can prepare a little bit ahead. Either way, sometimes these types of relief programs can really help give you some breathing room and alleviate some of that financial stress. So let me give you an example of something we noticed recently with one of our clients. I recently had a client here at Brightside that was furloughed. She didn't know where to start. She didn't know how she was going to make her payments. The first thing that she did was call her mortgage lender, her auto loan lender, her credit cards, and her utilities to see what they could do to help her. What she found out is that 3 out of those 4 were actually able to pause her payments, and the other one was able to defer them. And that gave her that breathing room to be able to put food on the table, keep the lights on, and really alleviate some of that financial stress that was immediately on her plate. I also wanted to go over some examples of some companies that we've noticed offer some form of relief. First, we have Allstate, and they're currently offering a refund on a portion of auto insurance premiums as people are not driving right now and accidents are down. Many of the major cell phone companies are also helping out. Verizon, for example, is waiving a majority of their fees along with protecting you from service termination if you are unable to pay. Also, while utility companies vary greatly by state, I wanted to give an example of a larger one that's out there. Currently, Ambit Energy is offering suspended disconnections, deferred payments, along with payment assistance options if you're unable to make your current payment. And like in the story, other types of companies that are offering assistance includes debt companies and internet providers. Now, the one thing that I do really want to mention here is that each company and provider is different. So it's important to make sure that you go to their website or give them a call directly. And also know that if you'd like any assistance doing that as well, we'd be happy to help do some of that legwork and research for you. The next step here is looking for ways to save. And this one might seem obvious, but with a change in lifestyle comes a change in spending. And let's be real, right now we're all experiencing a change in lifestyle. We've noticed with a lot of our clients, for example, that food costs are increasing, but entertainment, transportation, subscription, even childcare costs are decreasing. And as we don't know how long this is all going to last, making these small changes right now can make a lasting impact over the next 3 to 6 months. So let me ask all of you this. What are some ways you have all found to save recently? Go ahead and take about 20 seconds or so to answer these. All right, looks like entertainment, eating out, transportation, car maintenance, shopping, those are the major ones, a little bit of childcare and subscriptions in there too. We're noticing this a lot out there, especially with not having to put gas in the car, not able to go out and do the typical entertainment you can do. And it's awesome that you guys have already been starting to think about this. For those that haven't, that's totally fine. There are bigger priorities on your plates right now, but hopefully this gives you a starting point of where to look if you haven't thought about it already. Some other examples also could be maybe you're paying your cable company for the sports package right now, and most professional sports games are currently on hold. Maybe you're paying for extra data or high-speed data on your cell phone bill when you're always on Wi-Fi at home. Or maybe you're still paying for a gym membership when the gym's going to be closed for a while. These are those types of small changes you can make that can make that impact. The third step here is going to be researching government and community resources. And there are new relief programs on both the federal and state levels that are coming out every single week, sometimes even on a daily basis. If possible, try to stay informed on what might be coming as it might impact you in more ways than one. Some examples that we've personally seen are the tax filing deadline being extended, school meals for young children being provided, and even medical delivery services. Now, these are just a few, and there are a lot more out there, and a lot of them do depend on where you are. And we understand that it can be overwhelming trying to keep track of all the updates yourself. So if you have any specific questions on your situation, we're updating our resources daily to keep up with the new information that comes through, and we're available to clarify any questions you may have and do that research for you. Lastly, let's look at the fourth step, which is company benefits. Look, we know there isn't only financial stress right now. Your company also has a variety of benefits that can support you in navigating through this tough time. Our financial assistants are also fully aware of all the benefits you have access to that can be beneficial to your situation. Reach out to us or your HR group if you have any specific questions on these programs or want to explore them further. Now, I just want to recap those 4 steps really quickly, which are asking for help, such as looking into relief programs from your providers, looking for ways to save, definitely taking advantage of government and community resources, and reviewing company benefits. This can be a really great starting point to getting you back on track and alleviating that immediate financial stress that I'm sure some of you are experiencing. So far, we have shared tips to help with the immediate financial stress you may be experiencing due to COVID-19. But here's the thing. For many of us, this event's going to have longer lasting impacts. So take a few seconds to think about this among yourselves. Have you thought about what your financial picture may look like in August, which is 4 months from now? Probably not, right? Many of us are concerned with the present. And right now we are in a state of crisis. And sometimes it can be really difficult to think forward beyond the current situation. That's where having a financial assistant can be beneficial to support you, so you are prepared for impacts such as decreased savings, increased debts, impacts to credit, and even difficulties keeping up with payments after the relief period is over. Now, one of the most impactful things that you can do right now is to get clarity on your finances. We briefly talked about finding ways to save earlier, and one of the best ways to do that is to really understand where your money is going and looking at your budget. So here's a question for all of you. Have you sat down recently to see how your spending has changed, and not just at a glance? Go ahead and take about 20 seconds to answer this one as well. 45% have. That's great. The fact that you're already thinking ahead and doing that is awesome. For those that haven't or don't have a budget, I completely understand. Look, I know that completing a budget is complicated. It's time consuming. Sometimes you don't even know where to start. But here's the thing, your financial assistant can help you through that entire process, give you a really good starting point, and also help you with what to do with that information after as well. And I want to tell you a story really quickly to show that impact. I recently had a client that reached out who was stressed out. They were uncertain with everything that's going on. Their spouse is potentially going to be laid off. As a starting point, we figured out what has changed since they had started working from home due to COVID-19. Now, what they didn't expect was to find an extra $500 a month they were saving from not having to drive, putting gas in the car, reduce childcare expenses, and lowering some monthly subscriptions and memberships that they really didn't need in a state of emergency. That then became a conversation around what we can do to best prepare for those types of uncertain future situations that might be coming up. Speaking of the uncertainty, we know that there are a lot of goals to consider throughout your lifetime, and many of these are more prevalent now that we are in a state of emergency. This is here to give you an idea of some of the types of goals that we can help you with, but also remember we can help with anything with a dollar sign attached to it. To name a few, though, we can assist with helping you pay down debts, whether it be credit cards, student loans, or even your mortgage, making sure that we can help save that emergency cushion in case something like this happens in the future, even improving your credit to put you in a better position for future purchases, or even looking at consolidating debt. And many of you have already received your economic impact payment if you filed your 2018 or 2019 taxes and had direct deposits set up. For those that haven't filed in either 2018 or 2019, you'll need to be able to receive it. Others maybe were waiting for a check in the mail. Either way, it can be really hard to decide how to use it in the most impactful way, but just know that we are here to help and think through those options with you.
All right. Peter, thank you so much. A lot of great information here, a lot of things that we can do right now, both partnering with Brightside and things that we can plan to do for the future. So I do want to take a little bit of a moment here to pause and take some time to answer some questions that were submitted. So if you do have any questions at this point as well, please feel free to type those in your chat/question box. We'll be able to see them. They are confidential, and then I can share those with Peter and try to get those answered for you right now. So one question that came through here, Peter, if I do defer payments, how is that going to catch up with me later, or is everything going to come due at once?
That's a really great question, and that one will vary greatly by company. What we're noticing right now is that a lot of debt companies, such as credit cards, loans, even mortgages, for example, are often tacking on the payments to the end of the loan to give you that breathing room and make sure you don't have to come up with the full payment at the end. Other companies, though, such as utility companies, cell phone, internet, things like that, they're often looking to basically charge you for whatever they deferred once everything settles down. And that'll vary. Some of them might give you a month, 3 months, 6 months. We've been noticing a little bit of a variance there. But that's why it's really crucial to make sure you're contacting your provider and getting that information before you commit to anything to make sure that it's not going to put you in a worse situation in the future.
All right, excellent, thank you. Another question that came in here, is now a good time to consider refinancing our home mortgage based on lower interest rates?
Yeah, this one can vary pretty greatly, to be honest with you. Right now, interest rates are low. Keep in mind too that because of the low state of interest rates, a lot of mortgage lenders are also starting to bump up their rates to keep up with demand. So it's really good to make sure, if you are considering this, to start looking for those potential quotes out there. The one thing I will say though is that to really answer this, we really want to make sure we're getting to understand your situation thoroughly. This is where we're really speaking to that financial assistant to see what that potential break-even point, for example, is. How long do you want to stay in that home? How long is it going to take to make up the savings based on the closing costs you'd have to pay? Those are the types of things that your financial assistant can really make sure they dive in with you and give you a better educated answer there.
All right, thank you. And if that didn't answer your question completely, feel free to ask a follow-up. We'll be happy to address it. There was a question around, can we email a recording of the presentation? Our intent is to get you this presentation. So we are looking at ways to make sure that you can have access to this afterwards. So certainly. Another follow-up question for you, Peter. Do you have tools that can help us set up a budget?
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a lot of resources internally and expertise around this subject that allows us to make sure we're guiding you throughout that process. So please reach out. We know it's complicated. We know sometimes you don't even know where to start. And we also know that it's often easy to forget a lot of the items that are in your potential budget. So we do have the potential resources and starting points to really make sure that you feel confident going through that.
Yeah, and do you have anything, I'm going to ask a follow-up to that, are there any tools that you can provide when you engage with a client to help them to manage that themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. So not only do we help you go through and actually fill it out and make sure it looks respectable to you, right? Making sure that we're not missing anything, but we also make sure that we leave you something to go home with and even potentially update on your own if you'd like. So a lot of the times we'll make sure we send you an Excel sheet or a document or just something that you have handy. Honestly, it's sometimes great just to put that on your office desk, pin it on the fridge, keep it front of mind, especially during a situation like this. And as things do change, as we know things will change over the next 3 to 6 months, you can make those updates and also make sure you're keeping your financial assistant in the loop to see how that might be impacting your other goals.
All right, great. Another follow-up question here around mortgages. How is mortgage forbearance affecting credit rating?
Yeah, so that's a really great question. So as of right now, what we've been noticing with most mortgage lenders is that if you do enter into forbearance for your mortgage, as long as you are current right now, there will not be an impact towards your credit. If you are currently behind or late on your payments, that's where it can get tricky. And that's really where you want to make sure you're speaking to your mortgage company about what that might look like, as we have seen a situation where it continues to show late because it started off being late.
Yeah, good advice there. Enough time here for a few more questions. What kind of student loan relief is available?
Yeah, so this is going to vary whether you have federal or private loans. So as of right now, federal loans are being paused until September 30th. Interest is also not accruing on those student loans during that period. After that, we'll have to see what everything looks like and if there's any potential changes or a pushback in date. Private loans, on the other hand, is going to vary greatly. So as of right now, this is actually a pretty new development. 10 states out there are currently working with private student loan companies to provide a very similar type of pause on payments. The other states are currently figuring out what that's gonna look like. The best thing you can do right now, though, is, again, either reach out so we can help you with this process, or reach out directly to your private student loan provider to see what type of relief options they have. And also know that this is usually also on the websites of those individual lenders. They should give you an idea exactly of what that looks like. Also know that with federal student loans, right now you can make payments if you want to. So if it's paused, you may want to potentially get ahead on that because the interest isn't accruing. You can call your student loan provider there and see what you can do to potentially get some payments in.
All right, excellent. And one more here, last question that we have submitted. How will pausing payments affect my credit?
Yeah, so this one ties back a little bit to the earlier one where it really depends, so far what we've noticed anyway, on whether you're current on your payments or if you're currently late. So if you are current, what is being stated by the credit reporting bureaus is that it should not affect your credit. Essentially, it's going to continue showing as current as that's paused. If you are currently late, though, that's where you want to make sure you're contacting your providers and making sure you're getting clarity there.
Great. You know, one just snuck in here, last one here. Is retirement planning good to invest in, or should we pay off our debt first?
That is an awesome question, and also one that's going to vary greatly on your personal situation. That one's a really hard one to answer as a general rule of thumb. I highly suggest contacting us, getting connected with a financial assistant to see what exactly is going on, because it's going to vary greatly on what those current debts are, the interest rates, the balances, your timeline to retirement, what your retirement's going to look like. And those are the types of situations that we want to make sure we're taking a deeper dive and really getting to understand.
Awesome. Well, I do want to kind of pause here and share, you know, we are running near the end of the time frame, but it looks like that we were able to address all the questions that came in. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up our Q&A session. I do want to share, though, if you have any questions that weren't answered here, or you didn't want to ask, or if anything comes up in the future, please feel free to reach out to us. We're only a call or chat away. You can download the Brightside Benefit app and engage with us so we can learn a little bit more about your unique situation and get you that help that you need. Like Peter said, you know, this presentation is really only covering a narrow part of everything that we can do. So we certainly want to help you as much as we can. And with that being said, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. We hope that you found something of value, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. Just want to say stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.